What's going on, everybody? It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. Super excited to be in the new studio. And yes, you hear echoes because it's that big, and I still have almost nothing on the walls because we're finishing the other sets that will be done this week, right, Kenny? Anyway, Kenny did a fantastic job getting us in and under the gun for our amazing time with Real Estate Mindset yesterday on the live stream. It was a lot of fun. Always great working with Travis, and it was really great to meet Jeff, who's an aspiring homeowner. Who I have here this morning is an extremely special guest. Super excited to have her because we look for new investors with a mission. And so I wanted to introduce everybody to Sophie Elaine. Sophie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.
Hi, everyone.
So super great to have Sophie here. For those of you guys who don't know, if you've ever watched any of my content, you know, a lot of stuff that I talk about is for veterans and for cops and firefighters and really first responders. So they have a special place in my heart. Every single time I talk about our troops, I start to get a little weepy. It's an issue. I get it. My kids don't make me cry. That kind of makes me cry. But because so often I think they're taken for granted. And I know that we have the best armed services people in the world serving and trying to protect our freedoms. So I always want to make the time available to veterans. I think that they have a vast amount of knowledge, and I want to make sure that they know all of the programs that are out there and available to them, and all the investors like Sophie, like myself, that really do try and gear part of our companies towards assisting those veterans in finding great homes at reasonable prices. And so what I kind of wanted to do, Sophie, just to kind of get a level set for everybody, is I know what I'd like you to walk us through kind of what your day job is, and then what your, then kind of why the real estate journey. So introduce everybody to yourself, Sophie, if you would.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Sophie, and I'm actually an executive pastry chef, and I have a background in luxury hotel management. So I've been executive pastry chef for the past 12 years. I also own my own pastry studio that I do luxury wedding cakes, groom's cakes, 3D cakes. I've been invited on Food Network a couple times, and I have not taken them up on that offer.
It's too bad because my wife and I are blown. So my wife is a Food Network junkie. She watches that nonstop. And so when I actually came across your cakes, and my wife goes, "What's that?" And I was like, "That's actually one of my subscribers. She does these amazing cakes." And she's like, "That's it." She's like, "Those are awesome." And so if you guys get in touch, check out Sophie on Facebook. I'm telling you, it's just like it says in the name, Sophie Elaine. It will blow your mind, the talent level that she has. And I love working with people that are elite at something. And I can tell you, she is elite. That is the first cake that I almost didn't
Thanks,
want
Matt.
to eat. I almost didn't want to eat the cake. I was just kind of like,
it's edible art. So I actually have a background, like I went to art school first, and then I have a pastry degree and a business degree. But I think the cake, initially I wanted to be an artist, and my aunt was an artist, and she couldn't find a job as an artist. So then my grandmother was like, "Well, why don't you go to school to be like a pastry chef or something like that?" Cool. So I initially went to pastry school and wasn't expecting anything out of it. And then once I put two and two together that, hey, I can do edible art with the same mediums that I was doing, like sculpting and everything with clay with, it just everything kind of exploded from there. I've done like a dragon cake from Game of Thrones. I've done like a dinosaur cake. I did a 3D Baby Yoda Lego cake for an engagement, a yacht cake, like some crazy stuff. And I met a lot of cool people along the way, being able to do these cakes for. But it's been an interesting journey. And after 12 years, I'm kind of like, I have carpal tunnel, and I needed to find a retirement plan.
Love it.
So, and I was interested in real estate, and I wasn't sure how I wanted to get into real estate. I knew I was thinking about being a real estate agent, but then I knew there was something more than that. And obviously I wasn't very well connected in the real estate world, but I came across it. It was on a Kelly's profile. No, actually,
Awesome.
my one friend who is she's an interior designer recommended on a as a first coach. So then I enrolled in a program of hers for a multifamily course, and I've been doing real estate now for about a year
Awesome.
and just learning along the way. Joined a great mastermind group, April Crossley, and I love being in her group now. Just learning a lot along the way and figuring out what I want to do. I actually just did my first wholesale deal. My one partner Adam and I closed on that today.
Awesome.
That's been a roller coaster with the buyer. I feel like he should be on a reality show himself. Like this guy's just crazy. But I mean, it's a great experience, and now I'm working on a rehab project, a large duplex in Pembroke, Harrisburg, that I am either going to do medium-term nurse rentals with, or I'm going to start that as like my affordable housing for veterans. So I'm either going to put like a veteran family in there. So, and then one of the programs that I've been working on and researching and connecting with local businesses is I want to provide affordable housing for veterans.
Sure.
And
So let
within that,
me roll you back just a little bit, because I think it's really important. So newbies that are getting into the business, you're basically been in it for about a year. You've already done a wholesale deal, and you've already bought a duplex that you're in the process of rehabbing.
yes.
And so how much time would you say you spent kind of what I like to call skilling up? Because I think that there's a lot of people that watch my content, that watch a lot of other content, and a lot of them think A, that they're never going to get there, or B, that they try and buy something the first week of, watching 50 hours of my videos. Not the way I want them to do it either. And so talk to me a little bit about kind of that process where when you first got in and said, I'm making the decision that I need an alternative career. I need something that's going to add income based on what I'm struggling with or what I'm going through in my current job, my profession. So at that point, when you make that decision to say, you know what, I need to do something else, and I think it's going to be real estate. I think a lot of people that are watching me have made that decision where it's going to be real estate. I think what they haven't made the decision about or understanding is, walk me through a little bit of, after I made the decision, then this was how I then charted out my course to become work in a mastermind or do Facebook work, or what kind of was that next step for you after you've made the decision to kind of get into real estate?
So I feel like I did a lot of homework and legwork first on just spending like I get up super early at 3 a.m. So and then like in the cake business, it's like you got to get up early. So I will spend, any of my time that I'm not talking to brides or clients, I'll spend on like a podcast or YouTube, and I'll just listen to hours worth of YouTube videos and stuff. Like I did a lot of research before I decided I wanted to get into investing. It wasn't just like, hey, I want to get into real estate, and then all of a sudden like I bought a property. Like I did a lot of research, and I feel like when you're not into the real estate investing world, it's hard to there's this wall, and it's hard to get over to this other side and then to have access to all of the knowledge that real estate investors have. So I did a lot of research and just started networking with people in order to find the right avenues to take. And then I didn't know that you could use private money for that there was such a thing as private money or hard money for a deal. This duplex I bought initially, the deal would have worked that it was 15% down, and the wholesaler would like seller finance their wholesale deal. As it turns out, like going through this deal as a new investor and stuff, with banks tightening their lending, and I initially got quoted at like a 5% interest rate, it ended up being 25% down. The wholesaler ended up not financing the wholesale fee, and then I ended up at like a 7% interest rate, which is still fine. because I was under contract for that deal, and I was like, I'm not letting this deal go through because I'm already contracted to this deal. So like whatever it took for me to get the deal done. So I'm now funding this duplex with my own money, which I had set aside for this sole purpose. It would have been nice if I would have been able to put a couple more down payments on more properties, but it just worked out this way, and I'm making it work. For my next deal, I'm going to use private money and a private money lender, which I learned from April Crosley, how to structure private money deals and how to run numbers and stuff like that. But
so one of the things I think is really important, let me interrupt you. So one of the things I think is really important is that so often new real estate investors, they get into it and they have a plan. I always talk to my wife, and she's had 3 babies. And so I always say, it's kind of like they go in and they say, this is the plan that I'm going to have, and how the baby is going to, when the baby's going to come, and then how that's going to work. And the funny thing is that you only do that the first time.
Right.
Because you realize that nature doesn't really care what your plan is.
Exactly.
So I think the cool thing is, and I think what's really, really important, and one of the reasons that I wanted to connect with you, aside from the veteran piece, is the tenacity. Because I think that people need to understand that it's important to plan, but it's almost as important to be able to pivot. You need to make sure that when you've grabbed a hold of that deal, that you understand all the pieces of that deal, because you might be being shown that you need to pivot. In this particular case, like you were saying, it was, okay, I can still make the decision. I'm still going to move forward on this, and it's based on X. And so I think people need to have and skill up and knowledge up as much as they can, because I think understanding how you can pivot and what you can pivot to is what helps keep you in the game. Every real estate investor since the dawn of time, with every project that they've ever done, has had things happen that they didn't expect. The issue is, and I'm going to actually have a sign that's going to go up behind me, not in a digital fashion, but actually a painting that I purchased, and it said, you don't lose. Basically, it's not over unless you don't get up. And so you've got to get back up. And so you're going to get knocked down. So you were knocked down a couple times with this deal, kind of knocked back a couple steps, had to pivot. You were looking at originally doing multiple deals, and you said, you know what, we're going to get focused on this one deal. By the way, I actually think that that's the best thing that could have happened for you, because doing one project, focusing on it, seeing all the data inputs, seeing all the projects that works that has to be done, I think is critical to really master that experience. And then you take the things that you learn from that one into your next one. That's how you get better and better and better with every one. Is I learned this. I never did sewer line inspections until I got by a sewer line that cost me $8,000. After that, everyone gets scoped, because it's only 200 extra bucks on the inspector. And if I'm doing my own inspection, I'll actually just bring a sewer line guy in and pay them $250, and they come in, they scope the line, and they go, yeah, it's clear, or no, you've got, what's called skirting. We'll do another video on that. So you're through that point now where you've kind of pivoted in your deal. Now, then what happens?
Well, so pretty much I've been, obviously I work a full-time job, and then I work in my business and stuff. And I also do personal training. But pretty much like I've been bodybuilding for about 18 years now. And, you have your ups and downs and stuff, health problems and stuff like that. But like the one thing that bodybuilding has taught me is it doesn't matter, as long as you don't give up, like you haven't failed. Like as long as you get back up and you get back in the gym, you haven't failed. So I'm like, well, then investing's the same way. So I've been spending weekends up at this property, just getting it ready, renovated. Awesome. The one side needs like paint, flooring, some things fixed and stuff like that. And the other side, the bedrooms need to be ripped out and stuff like that. But I mean, we're ready for something like that. And I'm excited. And honestly, I think I'm like 3 or 4 weekends into working on the one unit, and I'm kind of finishing up on that side. And now I'm getting into some of like the design elements. Like this is it's more of a B rental area. It's a nicer area. It's next to a hospital. So I wanted it to be a little bit nicer than just your average like rental unit.
100%.
Since I was interested in doing like the medium nurse rental in it, the traveling nurses.
Yep.
But it's been a great process. And I've been using Facebook Marketplace and eBay for a lot of items that I need to buy, discount, lumber stores, connecting with people on Facebook that have surplus materials and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like you just to keep costs down, you can easily do a renovation project. Like, you know, everyone will be like, oh, you have to have so much money and stuff like that. But so far I'm under $5,000, like way under $5,000 for the first unit, all in paint, everything, flooring, just because we've been doing the work ourselves. And I mean, I have the money saved up, but I don't want to use all of the funds for one project. So you can absolutely use light fixtures, use vanities, like certain things like that, just to make it work.
So the hustle is strong with this one, Sophie. Like this.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Like,
I love it.
You're crushing it. And so what's really funny is most people don't know. I cover it every once in a while, but I don't spend a lot of time there. I can honestly tell you, from my very first real estate deals, Facebook Marketplace didn't really exist. It was Craigslist, and that was it. And it was Uncle Henry's advertiser where I am. It's a local thing, and people can put an ad in there for a few bucks if they're getting rid of whatever. Every one of my weekends was spent going out and getting product on sale to redo the units that I redid. I didn't have the luxury of walking into Home Depot or walking to Lumber Liquidators or knowing some wholesale, you know, flooring company going, yeah, 3,000 square feet of that or 1,000 square feet of that.
Yep.
That was not my world. And same thing with appliances. Was I'd try and find things that were very gently used, and that's what I would go in there. I literally I just bought a place where I'm replacing a 1973 refrigerator. And I just shake my head and go, this thing needs to be brought to the Smithsonian. Like, I can't believe it's even still keeping things cold. But that's another thing I really want to make sure people hear is what Sophie is doing is sweat equity. It's not just doing the work, but it's actually sourcing all of your own materials and getting them into your place. And I can tell you, you can save probably 70 to 80% if you just search used. And it's never been easier than it is today. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, yard sales. We're a big yard sailing family. Every Saturday we go yard sailing as a family.
I love yard sales.
I think, yeah. So when you're out there hunting for those pieces and looking for those values, I mean, I bought some faucets that were brand new, still in a box, $10 a piece. They're $150 faucets. I don't want to spend $150 if I can spend 10 and it's brand new, still in the package. Why not do that? So
exactly, you're
in there, you're crushing it, you're doing the work. By the way, probably the most ripped pastry chef in the history of mankind. Since you
I make like healthy stuff because I don't eat any of like the sugar stuff that I make. So I do like like vegetable desserts and stuff too. So I'll do like gluten-free, vegan, like the dairy-free, like all that kind of stuff yet too.
That's awesome. So I mean, and you'll never catch me anywhere near that stuff. If I'm going for it, I'm going right for the sugar.
But the thing is, you can't taste it. Like I make it, so it's like you can't tell that it's good for you.
I know. And all of the people that aren't vegetarian type of people instantly go, so you think.
Yeah. Well, trust me, I was the same way. And then when I started making this stuff, I'm like, well, I love chocolate. Like, so if I can eat it, I'm like, listen, anyone can eat it. So
that is awesome. So you're through the point now where you basically got the one unit pretty well done. You're well under $5,000, which is an awesome feat. No matter what, that's an awesome feat. And then you're starting to get to work on the second unit. So I guess I have a couple more questions for you. One is, as you're looking at that second unit, do you think that you're going to be kind of in that same price range, or do you think you're going to need that much more work there in that unit?
I think the second unit is the larger unit and it's the nicer side, so I can get higher rent for that side. And the plaster is in rough shape in the bedrooms. So the upstairs is definitely going to need to be ripped out with the plaster. Gotcha. And I just want to, and that side actually needs electric rerun, which isn't a huge deal for us. It has some knob and tube electric. Um,
And
he actually,
that's really
sorry.
important too. So knob and tube, for those of you who don't know, knob and tube is the oldest wiring that they even make available in houses. Most insurance companies will not let you rent out a property that has knob and tube. So Sophie's
Right.
absolutely doing the right thing for her tenants. She's doing the right thing for insurance and doing the right thing for safety in ripping out all that knob and tube. She'll replace it with what'll be current Romex, which is just your
Yeah.
typical wiring. But that will instantly make it more safe. The challenge that we find in a lot of homes, certainly in your parts of Pennsylvania, my parts of New Hampshire, there's so many homes that are that old that they'll have the knob and tube, and literally for years, 70s, 80s, people would splice into that. That is a major no-no and a huge fire hazard, because they would do it not even in a junction box. They just do it in the wall. So major no-no. So I'm so excited to hear that when you found the knob and tube, you're like, yep, we're going to yank that out. That's the right thing to do.
So here's the issue. Like, the house is 122 years old. The one side, the electric was redone in. The other side, when doing the walkthrough, the box actually was updated. Like, all the wiring was updated in the box in the second unit. And then going upstairs, we're finding that it's the original. They must have spliced the new electric from the old electric is upstairs and new electric downstairs, but they just spliced the old electric to the new electric. We're like, okay, like, this doesn't make sense. So let's just rip everything out and like start over. I'm pretty sure I'm kind of anticipating like higher rehab costs. For the second one, I'm trying to do it probably for like under maybe like 8 to 10 grand for the second unit. We're just kind of looking at electrical wire and drywall at this point, and flooring, paint. But I mean, just when you're opening up a wall of an older home, it's like opening up a can of worms. You never know what you're gonna find behind there. But I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm excited to see what happens with this one. And I love the old homes, because I found like a child's Winnie the Pooh sign in a closet above a closet door. And I'm like, and it's just crazy, because I'm like, how long has this been sitting there that nobody else has found it? Like, you could tell it was like from like 1900 or something, like handwritten. Like, I just love finding stuff like that, like the little doors above the I think you commented on my Facebook post, the little door above the basement door. I don't know if it was a linen closet or sometimes those were little like access doors to old knob and tube
storage in the main space, and it looks like you call it like a hobbit house.
Like
that's where you stick kid number 5 and number 6 to sleep.
Exactly. Like, they're bad. But it's just crazy. Like, I love the old architecture in some of these old homes, and I'm just excited to get started on this rehab on this second unit.
That's awesome. And I know you'll do a fantastic job. That's really key. And so when you're done, what are the rents on what you're finishing? Is it a 2-1? Is it a 3-1? And what's the breakdown, kind of rent to bedroom? And then what's the rent typically?
Sure. So this area, so Harrisburg actually is like the number 2 highest rents in America, next to like Miami, Florida, or something like that. I saw Grant Cardone posted something like that. So I thought it was really interesting. So the smaller side that I'm finishing up now, I should get about 1,500 for, and then the larger side, I'm kind of shooting for like 1,600 to 1,700.
Nice. And what's the bed bath count?
It's 3-1 both sides.
3-1 both sides. Okay, very cool. Yeah, it's amazing to kind of see what does something like that, what does a done 3-1 duplex sell for in Harrisburg? Is that a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 duplex?
The after repair value on this duplex is about $250,000. Okay. So when I bought it, the appraisal came in at $225,000. Nice. The outside doesn't need any work. Like it was the roof, the siding, and all the windows were capped. So the outside just needed power washed. There's a wooden fence outside that just needs painted, and there are a lot of overgrown trees and weeds and stuff in the yard. So the outside doesn't really need a whole lot of work. It was kind of the inside that needed some attention.
That's awesome. I mean, again, newbie investor, within the first year, she skills up. Then she buys a wholesale deal with a partner. Fantastic idea, because you want to be talking about that. Work with people that you know, work with people that know the process. Nothing wrong with partnering to get some of that actual experience. Make sure you don't make a majorly huge mistake. Completely understandable. Then you're buying a duplex. Now you're rehabbing the duplex. Then you're going to put midterm rentals in there for nurses. Not sure if you watch my buddy Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
I have a little bit. Yeah.
He's fantastic. He actually has one on there about traveling nurses, because
Okay.
there's a government site that shows you what the rates are for government nurses in special areas.
Oh,
So
cool.
I've
I'll
done
have to
them.
check
One of
that
the
out.
things you can do is reach out to that hospital. You reach out to their HR department and you say,
Okay. Yep.
hey guys, I know that you guys do traveling nurses. I have housing available for those traveling nurses. It's midterm. It's literally a block away from the hospital, or however far it is from the hospital. And then they say, okay, great. And then you can give them what your rates are. I would start with what that government site says is the rents in those areas. And I wouldn't offer the price first off to those folks. I would say, hey, what do you guys pay for a 3-bedroom, 1-bath? Because in
Right.
most cases, it's going to be higher than what you are guessing. I know when I first saw those numbers, I was like, wow, that's expensive. The crazy thing for
Yep.
me is, and what got me away from nurses, was that particular hospital I worked with consistently went through changing their contracts.
Hmm.
And so it was constantly ins and outs of nurses. And then it was, oh, we don't have anybody under contract right now. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do for 3 months? Just wait for you?
Right.
And so it was a little bit lumpy, but if you get in with the right hospital, with the right hospital system, with the right HR department, it can be absolutely fantastic, because my wife's a nurse. She makes
Oh, awesome.
she makes probably about 60, 65 grand a year. When she was nursing, she is not nursing anymore because we've got 3 kids, 4 and under.
Hmm.
But when she was doing it, it was 60, 65 a year. Traveling nurses over 100K, because
Yep.
they're, especially for the less desirable areas. Not saying this Harrisburg is undesirable, but it's less desirable than California, Southern
Hmm.
California, San Diego. There's plenty of traveling nurses that want to go to San Diego. There aren't a ton of travel nurses that think New Hampshire and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Right.
So that's usually the thing. So last thing I wanted to cover with you is, we talk a lot about veterans, first-time responders, and how we want to kind of make a difference for them. I know that when you had gotten into the real estate journey, the idea was, this is where I want to get to, but I have to learn the steps. So A+ on skilling up and getting some of those skills, and in doing the work and not being afraid and being bold, and then doing it on a budget. All of those things, like, the hustle is real and I love it. So talk to me a little bit about, okay, we've got the first one. Now we fast forward just a little bit, a few months from now, we've got the first one done. Now, where do we see this going over the next 2 to 5 years? And how do you, what do you envision it becoming, if you will?
Well, I actually wanted to start getting to like some syndication deals, but some bigger apartment multifamily deals and stuff like that in the next 5 years. Just continue learning, and then I definitely want to grow the affordable housing for veteran program that I'm working on, and definitely try to scale that and work with that.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think that I want to make sure that every veteran knows that he has a $0 or she has a $0 mortgage available to them. It is something that our country has gotten right for our vets. And there's a number of things that they haven't gotten right, but this is one of the things that they have gotten right. I think that if you guys are watching this video and you're involved at all with veterans groups, first responders groups, certainly if you're in the Harrisburg area, please reach out to Sophie. She's absolutely fantastic. And the more people we have working towards the same goal, the better that we can do. And there's no more important rental than the one that you're putting to a first-time responder and making it affordable homes. I am very passionate about this. We have a significant part of our portfolio that actually really services the shipyard that's close to us. We market there often because we want to make sure that we're passing word of mouth, but also people know, hey, there's something there. We know a lot of times it's actually a sub site. And so because it is a sub site, we know that their boat's going to be there for usually 18 months. So we know that we're only going to have the tenants for 18 months, but that's okay. We want to make sure that they have a nice place to stay while they're stationed here and doing the work, which is making sure that our country is kept safe. Sophie, were there any other
I love
last
that.
things that you wanted to touch on with folks before we conclude the interview?
Yeah, just want to let people know that if you're interested in investing in real estate, or you're afraid to take like that first step, like just jump and figure it out. Like everything's figure outable, and just, you get more experience by doing, not by watching YouTube videos. Um,
I'm a YouTuber, and she's exactly right. The only reason I did a YouTube is because I saw this massive gap in the market where a lot of people will talk about how to acquire property, and then you're done. They don't tell you anything about how to manage it, how to pick
yeah,
materials. So really, that's my niche in the market is, yes, there's a way to get it done. Yes, I get great deals, and that's really important. But now you've started your journey. Now you're a landlord. How do I respond to my tenants? How do
yep,
I get them what they need? What is the turnaround for a job like that has to be done? Networking, making sure you have a network of people that you can pick up the phone and go, XYZ just happened. I need your help. This is the kind of
exactly.
stuff that I think a lot of people will need help with. And that's what we're going to focus on. Sophie, thank you so much for making your time available to us today. Guys, again, Sophie is exactly what I want to see newbies doing, which is they come into the game, they skill up. They're not in a rush to get their first deal. They're doing the work. They're understanding exactly what they're trying to accomplish, starting to feel things out. They admit when they don't know something, but then they go out and they try and learn what that thing is. I would encourage you guys, if you're a newbie investor, certainly reach out to Sophie. I think that her story is absolutely phenomenal. And I think if you're doing anything when it comes to first-time responders or vets, absolutely in the Harrisburg area, reach out to Sophie, because I think that she is the kind of person that will make sure that she drives results. I can tell you one thing from an ex bodybuilding person, 27
I
years
love
ago.
that.
I did
Yes,
it for a year and a half. My life was completely different. And if you can stick with that for 18 years, real estate investing is going to be a cakewalk. This I can
I'm
promise you.
excited.
But keep the daily discipline. Thank you so much for your time. Guys, reach out to Sophie Elaine on Facebook. You'll absolutely find her, and check her out on Instagram too, where you'll see pictures of those unbelievably tasty cakes. Sophie, thank you
Butterfrost
again.
Pastry Studio
Yeah,
on
hit me again with
Instagram.
that.
Butterfrost, Butter, lower score, FROST. Wait, that's wrong. It's Butterfrost. Yeah, it's Butterfrost underscore pastry studio, I believe. I
believe
can't
it is.
remember my own.
If not, you can
It's
see it
something.
on
Just type it in.
you can see it on her Facebook, and then you can just link right off that Facebook, which is
Yes.
really easy enough. Sophie, thank you again for all the time. Look forward to hearing your journey in the future. Guys, please make sure you hit that like button as well as subscribe, because we want to continue to grow this community of people that are going to do impactful investing and make a difference in first-time responders and veterans' lives. Guys, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate you. Appreciate you again, Sophie, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so